Hello, and welcome to our Spider-Man review for episodes 6, 7, and 8. I'm here again with, as always, with my co-host Justin.
Hello.
You should be able to hear him. I'm pretty sure we did.
We didn't do a sound test. We were really late today.
I had to take care of some things, but we are here. It looks like, according to my mic and such, we're good. I did hear that we were running over there, so we should be fine. This was a good week of episodes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up,
especially the bottom end.
We'll get into it.
We'll get into it.
So starting off, we're going to use again Screen Rant like we did last time for the synopsis. One second. Did I not attach the? I attached the thumbnail. Yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah. No. Now we did. Look, we're like I said. Well, like Justin said, we're running a little behind on this one tonight. Again, I come straight home from work, and depending on how my meetings are going, depends on how fast I get here. And I got here a little late, and I had to fix something really fast before we could do anything. What's up?
Done.
Are you still looking at?
No, I'm not looking at Kmart anymore.
Okay. So, episode 6. So Lonnie is put on academic probation due to all his time being spent with the 110. Peter gets paired off with Pearl as his new science partner. Peter tries to bond with Harry and Nico at his apartment. Norman attending a charity event for the Avengers Relief Fund meets with Secretary Ross, offering government contract and security upgrades in exchange for turning a blind eye to Spider-Man. Getting an alert while at the charity event, Norman has Peter check on a security breach at Oscorp, leaving Harry and Nico. Spider-Man finds Daredevil at Norman's computer. Fighting on the roof, Daredevil tells Peter that Osborn is hiding something. Harry accidentally reveals that Peter's secret identity, or Peter's secretly Spider-Man, to Nico. And then in and then in the aftermath, no, that's in the next episode.
That's where it ends.
It ends with Nico finding out. This was a good episode.
Yeah.
Again, I don't like necessarily again the route that Lonnie's going on, or that they're writing him to go on. I think they're pushing too hard for him to have everything go wrong, but at the same time, it helps build for the villain he is going to be.
Yeah.
So I like it. This shows a lot. All honesty, this shows a lot more focus to Lonnie than it really is to Peter growing.
It's like an A and B plot, I think.
I think it is, but I think sometimes the B plot is stronger.
Yeah. There are certain episodes that the B plot is definitely stronger.
I love Daredevil's design in this episode, though.
It's just dark, so you just can't see his costume.
Well, yeah, but you still get like the
red accents and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Your thoughts of the episode?
It was alright. There wasn't a lot of Spider-Man stuff in all 3 of these episodes this week, except for next episode. Except for next episode, but like even then, it was only for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and like it was a Peter Parker heavy week, and I'm okay with that because they do Peter Parker really well. It makes me happy. You know?
No, I get you, and I agree. This was a good set of them. I need back this guy. I mean, on this episode, I'd give it a solid 4.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the Daredevil fight. To me, it was a fun fight.
Yeah, he still doesn't have a spider sense.
Correct.
Yeah. Which, if we're following MCU Spider-Man, it took him 2 years.
Well, after the next episode, we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Okay.
You're out of 5 for the first?
4.
A 4. Solid.
Yeah.
Episode 7. So, in the aftermath of Spider-Man's encounter with Daredevil, Norman reveals his history with Otto Octavius, who stole Oscorp's projects and took them underground for his own recognition. Norman believes Daredevil was hired on by Otto. Nico is hurt that Peter did not tell her that he was Spider-Man. The Scorpion finds the 110's safe house. Mag Garvin is given a brand new suit of armor from Otto Octavius. Norman is busy trying to track down Otto by scanning his unique energy signature from his tech, and Spider-Man starts tracking a gamma signature. Harry meets with Nico to try to smooth things over. The duo eventually start bonding and end up in a drag race with a hot rod. At the end of the drag race, Nico is protected by her amulet, which looks to contain some kind of magical power tied to her family history. Pearl comes to the 110 to confront Lonnie right as Gargan attacks in his new Scorpion armor, though Spider-Man soon arrives as well. Scorpion eventually gains the upper hand, overheating his armor before stabbing Spider-Man while Norman is distracted trying to locate Otto. Norman then sends a glider to save a wounded Spider-Man.
A specifically goblin-looking glider.
Yes. So I want to go back to the top of this episode and work. There's a lot. This episode is very heavy. There's a lot in this episode. I mean, Nico being hurt, we can just kind of skip through that. That is obvious why she would be.
Yep. And it's not like written annoyingly. It's like you get the buildup of their friendship to get to why her reaction is so adverse.
Correct. I did like that we do touch in on the fact that Otto Octavius did work with Norman. Again, I still want to know more into that, but
I think this is going to be the finale because
I think we're like water droplet feeding this one, because again, if you know the Spider-Man universe, Osborn will become the Green Goblin. He has to in every universe. It always leads to it because that's a super important breakthrough for Peter Parker. That's a big, important fight for him, where he learns that, one, you can't necessarily save everybody, but two, sometimes your heroes become the downfall to you. And so we know that's where it's going. I'm curious in this universe of it, what more so happened between the two of them, between Norman and Otto.
Yeah. Well, he explains a little bit.
He gives a safe explanation.
Yeah.
To me, that whole line delivery, and it's a great line delivery, it feels straightforward a lie. It feels like it's fake.
Dude, Coleman Domingo out here putting in the work as Norman Osborn, dude.
I will say I was kind of frustrated with great power comes great respect line.
Okay, how so?
Because I'm used to with great power comes great responsibility, which is the actual line.
That's not correct. But you see what they're doing.
I see what they're doing with it. They are building it up correctly, and I can't blame them for that. But I'm like, that's not the line. That's not how it should go.
And that's how you're supposed to feel, George.
I know. But it does not mean it does not bug me.
I mean,
it bugs me in the correct way.
If we get it from Peter himself, telling himself that, I'm okay with that.
I think it's going to come from May. I think.
You think it's going to come from May?
I think May's going to be the one that says it, which I'm okay with since Uncle Ben is already gone. I think it's going to come from May. I think, because I think Peter's going to have the realization through when he finally gives it to May and explains what's going on, which I thought we were going to get in the next episode.
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed we didn't. I felt like that was the perfect time to where Peter Parker's having too much of the weight of Spider-Man interfering with Peter Parker that he was just going to release some of it to her because then that would help him build up better for how to talk to Nico.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that because I wasn't exactly thrilled with how all that has been handled so far. I love now that we have Scorpion in his suit, the look of it.
I told you, let them cook.
It worked out. The design is good. Otto Octavius design still bugs me, but that's because it's the straight comic accurate.
It's so goofy, bro. I love it. I love it so much. And he's just dancing around his warehouse. Was it this episode or is that next episode? That's next episode, I think. I lied. That didn't happen yet. Right? Yeah, that's next episode.
You're right.
I lied.
I jumped the gun on that one too. Because this one's all just focused on
No, because this ends with the Scorpion attack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This was a good episode.
Yeah.
This episode, because we got enough time of either Peter and Spider-Man and big moments and a good look at Lonnie and showing the still good side of Lonnie, which is for the villain, his villain name,
Tombstone.
For Tombstone is actually a very good thing to show because again, Tombstone is a villain. He is always a villain, but he's sometimes more of a gray villain that he's doing bad things for the right reason.
Yeah,
but he shouldn't be. I think that's the Tombstone we're gonna get. It's next episode. I would give this episode
what
the when they meet back up with one of the that's next episode. So I would give this episode a 4.5.
I'd give it a 5.
You go 5?
Dude, the ending alone when he catches the bar and then he gets stabbed through the suit, through him.
Well, and that's what I want to talk about because you made the comment about Spidey sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think we get a little bit of it in that fight.
Yeah.
Because it's when the computer is having problems in the mask and his back is like to Scorpion while he's running. And all of a sudden they kind of do a look just more to the face where you can start to see it break through. He kind of stops and then moves to dodge just at the last second. I think we're
building it.
We're building it. I don't think he realizes he has it yet. And that's why he doesn't use it. Because we've seen in other episodes where he still can sometimes predict it and move ahead of it. But I don't think he understands that it's there.
Yeah. But like the way that fight scene is shot too, with like the broken lens and that it's like first person and everything. I love that so much. Oh my God. And then we get the glider, dude.
We do get the glider. We get what looks to be a prototype. It's not the glider yet.
It looks like a Sam Raimi glider though.
It looks like it's going to be that design, but it looks more like a prototype. This looks straightforward, like it's a drone.
Yeah.
But you can clearly see the elements of the Goblin's glider built into this look.
Oh, yeah.
And again, we know Norman's going that way. And now that we kind of get a better idea of what's going on since he is now meeting more directly with Secretary Ross, and he says he has other plans in mind. And next episode helps finish my statement. So I should not finish my statement. Going into next episode,
I'm so glad we didn't have to wait a week between these two. I would have been
there's too much connected that
these two episodes,
this should have been an hour long, but again, as you put it, from your understanding was they are limited for how long the episodes can be, so I get why it's split.
Part of the Sony contract is that they cannot have episodes longer than 40 minutes.
I scrolled up some because I was looking for things. Normanson's glider. So, I just had it lined up and I messed with it.
Episode 8, Tangled Web, finds Oscorp's medics tending to Spidey, but the company also takes the opportunity to retrieve a sample of his blood. When Peter wakes up, Norman has covered for him with Aunt May and tells his mentee to rest before reminding him that he needs to push himself to a higher level. Peter leaves the hospital shortly before learning his and Dr. Connor's experiment has worked. At home, he reassures a worried May that he was just in a skateboarding accident and then calls Nico to apologize. Heading to Pearl's to finish their assignment, he tries to talk to Lonnie, but Tombstone is in too deep to leave the gang and plans to help Big Donovan take down the Scorpion.
Yes.
We find Otto playing video games and eating junk food. The guy is clearly a bit of a loser, but when the military... What does it say military? Those are obviously SWAT.
Yeah,
when the SWAT closes in to apprehend the villain, he unleashes his extra arms without wearing them, unfortunately, and makes short work of the authorities as he dances his way to freedom. Or so he thinks. Ross is there to take in the villain, and he is back up in the form of Iron Man. People were so excited, but I was like, it was Iron Man. Peter speaks to Norman, and the CEO warns him to stop pulling his punches and embrace his power, because with great power comes great respect.
Mm-hmm.
As this is happening, the Chameleon, now in his comic-accurate mask to hide his face from the cops, points Big Donovan in the direction of Otto's cache, and Lonnie helps inspire his fellow gang members. Harry finds a disillusioned Peter and reminds him that he's not Norman. He inspires his friend to be better than that and reveals the suit he's made for him. The classic red and blue, George.
And we don't even get to see it. We just get the glint of the mat.
Goofiest smile on my face.
I was excited.
I had the goofiest smile, dude.
I did not realize one of the original robbers early on was the Chameleon. I was like, that's who you are?
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. I'm bummed we did not get to see the extra arms on Otto.
We will.
I get we will.
We will.
But I figured that since the SWAT was coming out at that moment, that was when we were going to finally get that, action of him. I figured because they started it off with him dancing through and just kind of being goofy through it, that he was going to go ahead and be grabbing the parts along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that entire set of shots, though, first off, compared to a lot of the show, has the most amount of animation cells in it because everything is moving and it feels real.
Yeah.
Like that, this episode feels the most expensive.
The back end of this entire series so far has been really good.
So I'm kind of thinking the first 5 episodes, and this is probably why they were dropped the way they were. I'm guessing those were probably our pilot.
Yeah.
And our test to make sure people would actually continue to watch this. And when the test groups proved successful, they got a bigger budget and all of a sudden put a lot into it because these 3 episodes are beautiful.
Yeah.
Even some of the animation gripes I've had with the season of timing and such, they're gone.
Yeah.
So again, I think the first 5 episodes were probably our pilot, and there are problems with those episodes, and we brought up those problems, and we have agreed on pretty much all of those problems. They're not in these last 5. Even the high-speed race, everything is alive. Everything is moving the way it should be.
Dude, in the way this is last episode still, but the way that it's shot, or it's animated, I should say, where they're driving off and they're leaving the light trails behind them is so cool. That's such a small detail that takes a lot of effort to do, but it made it look way better.
And again, you can still use the word shot.
I guess,
because technically an animation film is shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all being done through computer, but you still are taking the idea of where the shot is at. No. Otto's escape is what I'm going to word it as, because it's a failed escape, but escape is probably my favorite set of scenes.
It's pretty good.
It's really good and really entertaining. Because, you're wondering why, at one point he picks up earplugs and puts them on.
And then when he puts them on, the music muffles as well.
And you're like,
it's so cool.
And you're like, okay, why? This dude's jamming out. And it's just because he's already set up for his next attack and he just moves on. He's just jamming. He's so goofy.
Yeah, he's so goofy. I love it. He's twirly mustache goofy.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yes, he is classic. Well, at this point, I'm confused why he's not wearing a top hat with a handlebar mustache because this is the kind of villain they've made him out to be, and I'm okay with
okay with that.
If they're gonna leave him looking really stupid, at least he seems really stupid for being really smart.
I love it.
And then him randomly playing a Facebook game. I was like, what in the world is going on? Who thought that this was the way we wanted to take supposed to be one of the smartest characters in this universe?
Give him a raise. Whoever thought of that. Give them a raise, dude. That's awesome.
I was surprised that we got an actual scene of Iron Man in it.
Yeah, put the cameo somewhere.
I mean, that's all it was. It was a quick cameo.
Yeah.
I'm curious who voiced him.
The same guy that did it for What If. I looked it up because I was curious too.
Because it's a good Robert Downey
replacement.
Yeah, it fit very well. This episode, one thing that this doesn't talk about is Peter's proposal for a new energy supplement to try to copy Stark's as close as possible is successful. And what's important in this time frame of that happening is Oscorp starts receiving a lot of animals.
I think that's something else. I think that's entirely something else.
What do you think it is?
Well, they make it a note to show you that they draw his blood when he's in the hospital.
Yes.
I think that they're experimenting with his DNA and the spider enhancements on other animals.
So what I think it is, because this goes back to Goblin himself.
Mm-hmm.
Green Goblin in almost every set is again experimenting on a serum for super soldier serum.
Yeah.
And they always started on the animal trials. That's where I think we're going with that. We may be using part of Spider-Man's blood to help make it.
I think that's what's going to happen, yeah.
But the bigger, to me, the big important part is we're getting the animals there, which means we are now on the correct set of tracks to become Green Goblin.
Yeah.
This is all going to lead to it, which I'm okay with. Like, that was a good way to introduce it. They don't have to show the bad side of the animal exploitation. I don't think we're going to go that far into it.
Oh,
They
were pretty brutal with Scorpion.
Yes, but showing dead animals that's a little risque for a Disney animated show.
We'll see.
I think we're gonna see empty crates, and that will be and it'll come. There's some experiments going on, and sometimes things don't work out.
I mean, they like actively talked about the Holocaust in X-Men '97, so
yes. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't think we're gonna get that deep into it, and you gotta consider what words you say, because that word
I'm just saying
could get the channel in trouble. We're not Nuxlor, who could apparently get away with all these jokes, but
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know Nux?
No,
I figured you would know Nux, the VTuber.
I don't watch VTubers.
I watch him because he's funny.
Okay.
And he makes fun of quite current events.
Okay.
So that's why I watch him.
No Spider-Man in this episode at all.
We didn't need it.
And I love, you probably didn't get this, but are you watching the intros every time?
I'm skipping them to save time because I don't have the time to do it.
So we discussed the first week that every episode, the title card is a recreation of a comic cutter.
Yes.
Cover. For this one, it was a recreation of Spider-Man No More. With the suit and the trash can and everything.
Well, and to me, this episode was so much more impactful without Spider-Man, because we got so much time of Peter having to deal with the repercussions of being Spider-Man. And I'm disappointed in this episode in the fact that he is finally coming to grips with he can't keep his secret identity a complete secret. Now that Nico knows, he's struggling through it. He's actually facing straightforward they're calling it nightmares. To me, it's more PTSD at this point, because it was a much more like PTSD nightmare. And two, he's facing the fact of that he's still mortal. He sees and recognizes the fact that he can still die. We should have had part of him trying to work his way through this, we should have had in this episode him talk to May about it.
I go back and forth
because he's trying to figure out how to explain everything to Nico, and if anybody's going to understand, and he's coming back clearly hurt, it would be this moment to talk to May about it.
I go back and forth on that because, like, out of everybody he doesn't want to tell, I think May is on the top of that list. So I go back and forth on it. I can see it happening. I'd be okay if it happens, but I don't know. That is, speaking of that nightmare sequence, all I could think about while it was happening was how hard Mysterio is going to go in this show.
Yes.
Because if this is the art direction for a nightmare sequence, Mysterio is going to go insane.
Yes.
I'm so excited. I'm so glad that the show is good and we're getting 2 more seasons at least.
I'm surprised because of how fast we're introducing villains, even if we don't get to see them as a villain yet. Because I don't think we're going to see Tombstone as a villain yet.
I don't think we'll see Tombstone. I think
Tombstone's going to be a villain for season 2.
I don't think we're going to see Rhino in the next 2 episodes either.
I don't either. But since we have this set up, I'm surprised we haven't gotten the setup for Mysterio yet.
Okay. Here's my next question. Do you think we're going to stick with the MCU background for Mysterio, or are we going to get a new Quentin Beck?
There were so many complaints by people for how the MCU Quentin Beck was done. We're not going to go that route again.
Okay.
I think this show is leaning so heavy on the comics, where the MCU is kind of like, we've got a little bit of comic, but we know the story that's going on in the main arc, and we're going to focus to that. And Spider-Man's going to build up whatever needs to be done at this moment to support that.
Yeah.
Where the show, yes, to go back to your nod, it's not necessarily exactly comic accurate, but it's leaning extremely hard to the comics and like different versions of those stories. So I think we're going to go back to an actual comic version of Quentin Beck, especially again since there was kind of a big amount of people extremely mad about how I'm one of them, straightforward, of how the MCU Quentin Beck is.
Yeah. No, trust me.
I sat there like, that's not Mysterio.
Trust me, I know. Yeah.
Like that was a cheap like cop out of how to do it.
We were this close to greatness,
right?
We were this close
because you start to get those views of like a good Mysterio, and then
it's all holograms.
It's all just holograms, and I'm like, really? You had to go that cheap?
This close to greatness.
You had to make it a Tony Stark story, not a Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in the MCU, that's my biggest gripe. Is majority of the MCU Spider-Man stories are Tony Stark stories.
I'm so happy we got this soft reboot, George.
So
thank you, No Way Home, for giving us a soft reboot on MCU Spider-Man.
We'll see.
I don't know, man. Classic Sue. If he doesn't take off the mask, it's okay.
I said we'll see. We'll see what happens. We can be hopeful that it is going to be more of the classic Spider-Man, more going that route. Again, if I wish I could see how well this show's actually doing on the viewer hours and watch hours.
That won't come out for like
correct
a month. Right?
And this show's coming out so fast. I think the reason they're dropping it as fast as they are is so that the Nielsen numbers will look really good when they get updated. But
I think they were dropping them like super crazy because this is the year that we're backed up from the writer's strike. So they had to get it out in these first 2 months so that they could shift their marketing to Captain America, so that they could shift their marketing to the show between Captain America and Thunderbolts, and then they can shift their marketing to Thunderbolts. This is going to be a very, very tight year for the MCU and Marvel as a whole. What would you give episode 8 score?
Honestly, you want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
I'm at a 5 on this episode.
That's crazy.
This episode is so solid.
I never thought I would see the day
that I would give the show
that you would give a 5 willingly. We're still at a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's this episode. This episode actually made me a little emotional during it because this episode is written and shot perfectly.
Yeah.
Again, my only gripe with it, but I'm not going to knock it down for it because it's just my personal opinion of how the story is being told, was that Aunt May should have been that breaking moment between the two of them, because that also would have helped rebuild Peter Parker for the end when he goes and meets with Harry and them, and then him seeing him seeing the suit and the quick flash we get of the top of it on the glasses is so perfectly timed, because you only get a second of it and it's gone. To me, this was a perfect episode. The only thing that could have made it better in my mind is taking that story beat. I get them not. That's why I'm not docking
I know what they're building to, and I'm not going to tell you. I know what they're building to. I know why you have those frustrations. They're building to something, George.
They are building.
They're building to something, George.
But this episode, to me, it's a solid 5. Like, the end of this week was my end of first week. I was disappointed there was not another episode. And that does not happen for me, especially in current Disney Plus showscape. A lot of the shows have been, in the nicest way I can word it, kind of a letdown. WandaVision after episode 3, because episode 1 and 2 I wasn't sure I was going to continue. Episode 3.
Keep talking. It's my end.
Okay.
It's on my end.
After episode 1 and 2 of WandaVision, I wasn't entirely sold on it. Episode 3 sold me in it. Episode 1 and 2 and this has sold me on it. Episode 3, 4, 5, I was very weary because that was very much a downgrade. And even if we look at the numbers, you even agreed on it that we kind of went down. These episodes brought me up so far, and I was so disappointed there wasn't another episode. I am a solid 5 on this episode.
Oh my god, it makes me so happy.
Where are you at on this episode?
I'm at a 5. This is like perfect Peter Parker.
You may want to unplug and just replug your camera.
No, it's I lost internet connection for some reason.
Oh
yeah,
that's fun. I mean, we eventually note new studio Cat 6 available both laptops. Okay. That way I can put it into my wire diagram. That being said, let's look at the tally then where we're at so far.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go back. These are out of 10. We're gonna go 1 week at a time. Week 1 was episode 1 was 7.5. Episode 2 was a 9. Episode 3 was an 8. Episode 4 was a 6. Episode 5 was a 6.5. Episode 6 was an 8. Episode 7 was a 9.5. Episode 8 is a 10.
Yeah.
The average out of all of those,
7. No, 8.1.
If we round up a little bit, 8.1. It's 8.06.
Okay.
But 8.1.
8.1. I'm okay with that.
That's solid.
That's pretty good.
For a Disney Plus show.
Listen, man.
That's solid.
I know what's coming. I'm predicting it now. I'm going to be at a 6 for both episodes next week. For sure, the finale.
If they ride this high, they can easily get a solid 5 and 5.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think I almost want to say I think we're going to see Peter start to get a little weary of Norman, because I think when he goes out, he's going to see wherever Norman is, and I have feelings and I have thoughts, but I don't want to share them yet because I think I know where he's going, and if so, it leads up and connects everything else, and it would also. We're not going to get into that theory space because I don't want to spoil it if I'm correct. because I think people will be super excited and actually enjoy it. I hope this show is doing well. Nielsen. What? I'm trying to see if anybody has updated any of it. I'm not seeing it, which is unfortunate. Again, I think we're still too early. But I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah. Because this is really good. This deserves something, bro.
Well, because again, even though they have been greenlit for 2 more seasons and we have another season done, they can always stop it before the 3rd season, depending on how this is doing.
Yeah.
There we go. 6. Well, that's January, so that's still a month behind. So yeah, we can't.
Well, it came out January 29th.
It's January 6th to the 12th, is as far as I can see.
Yeah. So it's going to be a month before we can see or it's going to be 2 weeks before we can see the premiere.
January 6th to the 12th, though, Squid Games was number 1.
That does not
for original content.
Does not surprise me at all.
Do you know what the number 1 was for the acquired content?
Acquired? What does that mean?
Original is I made it. Acquired is I bought it, but I.
Yeah.
So do you know what acquired show is the number 1?
In January?
Mm-hmm. January 6th or 12th? Bluey.
Oh. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Bluey's always number 1.
Yeah.
1,107 million minutes. It's Bluey. Okay, so I need to bookmark this page so we can always jump back to it because this is the top 10 for the time periods. Overall, good set of episodes.
Yeah.
And any hint, any teaser, any thought you want to leave going towards the next set?
I think we're not going to see Goblin this season.
No, it would be too fast to build.
It's going to be the post-creds, I think. Or it's going to be right at the end.
I think what we're going to see in one of these last 2 episodes is Peter see and realize that Norman has started testing of something. Not necessarily he's going to know what he's working on animals or whatnot. And this is going to put weariness between them. But I don't think we're going to see anything of the Goblin yet.
Yeah.
I think Goblin is, right now I'm thinking Tombstone is going to be the main villain arc of the next season.
We'll see.
Because we're building up on it. And if we go that route, we can spend a lot more time with Peter, but Spider-Man trying to help Lonnie get back on the right track. And so that's why I can see him being a full season villain. Because it's not going to be one that he keeps trying to completely stop. But like, hey, you should knock this off. Go back to school.
Yeah.
Be responsible. But we can still have the kind of villain of the week still happen. And the main overarch, kind of how this overarch we found out to be Octavius, could be Tombstone.
Yeah.
And I think next season, the Goblin is going to appear. I think season 3 will be the Goblin season.
Okay.
I think we're going to build, because you need that time, because it had, again, there's so much emotional break and such for Spider-Man when he does the fight with Goblin, when he realizes who the Goblin is. And since we're building so much this season, this trust and this fatherly figure, and I can go to you for anything, which is why him going and talking about not having faith in himself, I thought was a good scene. Next season has to be the realization that his hero is not, necessarily a hero, and that start to be waning. And then we're going to have probably towards the end, probably let's say they're doing 10 episodes for the next season, probably 7 or 8, the fall down that the Goblin now exists, and Goblin will probably show up, but Goblin will escape, and then season 3 will be dealing with the Goblin. Okay. In my opinion, that's how I see the arcs going. Because we spent the good first half of the season really building the connection between him and Lonnie, which would make then sense for him to become the next main villain for us to focus on. And we're spending this whole time building the Goblin. And I don't see them rushing into the Goblin, especially since we just barely got to the start of the tests.
Yeah.
Yeah, he already has some of the technology, but even like we can see that Octavius already has, like the sound emitters that Goblin uses, but he hasn't had time to backwards build them to figure out how to rebuild them himself. So we need that arc to get all that time done. There's a lot more building still for him.
Yeah.
And a lot more time where we'll see the shift of the character dynamics between the two of them. My opinion.
All right.
I guess we'll find out more next week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. It's a long week. But if you made this part of the video, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Drop down the Amazing Spider-Man in the comments.
The Amazing
Spider-Man.
Don't mess with the Amazing Spider-Man.
Anywho. Until next time. See you later.
Bye.